Bro, did this ever happen to you? You're talking about powerlifting and people think it's weightlifting or bodybuilding you're talking about. Like you're doing your best description of Tiger Shroff and then people think it's Hrithik Roshan you're describing. It's one of the funny things of being a powerlifter. But today I want to talk about some not so funny things that are holding the sport back in our country. Problem number one is the lack of media coverage. When you talk about sports in India, people immediately assume that it's going to be cricket, football, badminton, hockey, kabaddi, but never powerlifting. Powerlifting is like one of those middle children that barely gets any attention. The only time you might ever see it get any attention is when something bad happens, like an accident or something. Or if your local cable TV channel decides that they want to show some love to their hometown heroes, which is generally good. But it is up to the organizers and us as athletes to broadcast the sport as much as we can. We can use Instagram Live, YouTube live streams for any competitions that are going on. We can have our influencer friends talk about the competition, or hell, even do a live stream to get the sport into the spotlight. One other idea is to have your photographer friends set up a stall at the competition to have athletes' pictures and all taken. So we have to do as much as we can to give back to the sport. We have people like Minimum Strength and recently King of the Lifts India doing podcasts with athletes to get them into the spotlight. So, if there's any competition going on, make sure to let the organizers know to at least live stream the event. It is as simple as setting up a tripod and live streaming the event on Instagram. If a local gym can do it, why can't a federation? Problem number two is going to be the fragmented federations and the politics. There are several competing federations that give each other the invalid card, which creates a lot of confusion about the legitimacy of a federation. And this also leads to the talent pool being split up, leaving an athlete to choose between federations. And if one athlete decides to leave one federation and then compete in its rival's federation, they usually end up getting the middle finger from the federation they left behind. There is also the infighting with regards to the national records, the world records, the competition dates, the type of equipment that is allowed to be used in competition. All of this creates a lot of discouragement among the old lifters and the new lifters alike. This lack of a unified body also creates a problem with regards to getting government funding or sponsorships, and then this impacts the athlete at the end of the day because they will have to end up paying out of their own pocket or have to rely on donations, which is a sad sight to see. And this problem, I think, is probably the hardest one to solve because we all love the sport at the end of the day, but we then decide to drive a wedge among ourselves because of people problems, for the lack of better words. If you have any solution to this problem, make sure to put it down in the comments. Moving on to issue number three, it's going to be inadequate infrastructure and training facilities. Most of the gyms in the country do not have proper competition standard barbells or power racks, or even a deadlift platform for that matter. So calling certain equipment in the gym rods is not an understatement because they are hardly safe for training. And then most powerlifting coaches you come across are not really certified coaches. They are self-taught, and then in most cases, while they are excellent, there are also chances that they do not know what they're doing. While most of the powerlifting coaches we have here have a lot of powerlifting experience under their belt, there is no such thing as a standardized certification pathway or a mentorship program like we do in the more advanced lifting communities. So a bit of research is needed before you hire a coach. The next impediment that I see here are the cultural factors surrounding lifting heavy weights. The whole world is focused on aesthetics, and by aesthetics I don't mean aesthetics in a bodybuilding sense. I mean it in a sense where fitness is only being looked at as a means to look good in your swimwear. While there is nothing wrong with that, there is also this growing conception that strength sports are overly masculine, which tends to limit female participation despite the growing interest. This is a sport where both men and women have competitions that are equally intriguing, so we need to show up for our female athletes and show some love. And this whole mindset about lifting heavy is only for men and not women needs to be chucked into the trash, because the best power lifter right now is a woman. Coming to the last set of issues, I think we can chalk it up to competition standards. Most of the federations have this problem where they do not start the event as scheduled, which leads to a lot of backlash from the participants. This is one of the reasons why I've seen a lot of participants move to different federations where their time is actually respected. If it's the federation that's waiting for a sponsor to come inaugurate the ceremony, I think there are ways in which it can be done where there is lesser backlash from the participants. And then there is the issue of poor venue selection. Certain venues are not meant to host a powerlifting competition, period. So the organizers must make the effort to choose a venue that is right for the competition, or at least check with the community to see if they can give them any options. Then another problem here is that the people expect certificates at the end of the competition, and even though certificates are given, there are cases where they are erroneously written out, be it the name, be it the totals, be it the lifts executed. That is going to be very discouraging for the athlete. And then the most controversial issue is going to be the no cash prize. So there is a lot of work that goes into training, the time that they give, the time that goes into competition, and the nutrition. And then expecting a cash reward, in my opinion, is reasonable. When every sport usually gives out a cash prize, and most federations are these days, there are still some federations that charge money for the competition, but they do not give anything back for the winners. So this is something that is slowly changing right now, and I hope to see it keep going. Another common problem that I see across several federations organizing competitions is that they do not have a live scoreboard. They still rely on tracking the sequence of activities through a pen and paper. So imagine an activity where there are 100 participants and then you're still tracking things on a pen and paper. So this was going to lead to overcrowding around the announcer area, around the venue. So if you have something like a laptop as simple as an Excel sheet, and then you connect it to a projector or a TV in the worst case scenario, it'll be easier to track the sequence of athletes that will be going on stage. And then there is also this free template IPF offers that you can use for your competitions. All in all, I do understand that organizing a competition is a tremendous undertaking, and the organizing body does its best to make the event as successful as possible. At the end of the day, since we're all doing it for the love of the squats, the bench presses, and the deadlifts, I think that taking the feedback from the community you're organizing it for is equally important. If you agree with the things I've discussed in this video, or if you disagree with something, make sure to put it in the comments. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching.